welcome back to another exciting and thrill-filled adventure with DIY Nautical Dream. Okay, maybe that was a little over the top. Anyways, we'll go ahead and get our next video started. Hi, I'm Rich.
I'm Priscilla.
And together we're DIY Nautical Dream. In this week's episode, Baby and I traveled to Titusville, Florida to review a 1975 CT-54, otherwise known as Chiao 54 or a Leaky Teaky. But anyways, here we go. We'll go ahead and get this video started.
Welcome back to another episode of DIY Nautical Dream. I'm Priscilla.
And I'm Rich.
Together,
we make DIY Nautical Dream.
So this week episode, we're gonna talk about the boat that we went to look at. Oh, we're doing it together this time. So
what are we doing together?
Look at the boat.
Oh yeah, this time. This time we looked at this one together. Yeah, that's right. So where was it at?
Florida.
We're part of Florida.
Titusville.
That's right, Titusville, Florida. Neither one of us had been to this place before. And this was your first time in Florida.
Yeah, so this boat is his really favorite boat. He really wanted to see this really bad.
Oh,
and
yeah.
He almost bought this boat. So we will see, guys, where this video gonna go.
Yeah,
or
how
where
this
this
turns
review
out.
gonna go. So go ahead, honey.
Yeah, so the boat we're reviewing this time is a 1975 CT-54. Chiao CT-54. They have different kinds of names. People call them CTs, they call them Chiaos. Anyways, these boats are made in Taiwan, and these are beautiful boats. If you get a chance to see a CT-54, you want to look. You want to see this boat, right?
That's why we went?
Yeah,
look at this boat.
That is why we went there. So, yeah, before we get too far into it, we'll just tell you a little backstory on this boat. I found it online. I saw it on two different brokerage sites. One of them was sailboats.com, and the other one I think was on Yacht World. And anyways, so they had them listed as a different year, and they had them listed for different prices. So of course, sailboats.com or whatever that website was, that's the one had the lower price, and it had a newer year on there. So we're gonna go with that one, right?
Yep.
Yeah. So anyways, so we traveled to Florida to look at this boat. Meanwhile, I'd been talking to the owner back and forth on the phone, by email. We were trying to make a deal, and I was really trying to get him to come down a little bit on the price. I think he was listing this boat at like $79,000, and it was well within our price range, and we had the money to get it, so that wasn't a problem. But it's in Florida. Bringing it back home is going to be a bit of a challenge, because we'd have to bring it through Panama Canal and all that. It's too big of a boat to haul over land. It's going to cost an arm and a leg and more. So anyways, me and the owner are talking back and forth, and I'm trying to get him to come down on the price, and he's like, trying to get me to commit to the price that he's listing it for. And finally we just come to an agreement that we'll just come look at the boat. I didn't really want to fly cross country to Florida just to look at this one boat. So since we're going to go there, we picked out a few boats we were going to look at, and this would be the first one we stopped at in Titusville to look at. So we fly into Fort Lauderdale, we get a rental car, and we start driving. And I think we got there kind of late at night, so I was tired and pulled over, slept on the side of the road for like 20 minutes. Then we kept on driving. Get to Titusville early in the morning, have some breakfast, and then we call the guy and set up an arrangement to meet there. We park at the marina. The marina looks pretty cool. It's warm, sunny. It's a nice looking place. We're feeling pretty good. Lots of boats in the marina. We like boats. So all that's going really well. We get
And-
let into the marina.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
he was still thinking at that time while we're walking in the marina that he's buying this boat.
Yeah, we were thinking, we were feeling pretty good about it. The owner and I had talked, and he, he pretty much assured me this boat was mostly ready to go. With a few maintenance items, this boat would be ready to motor through the Panama Canal and so on. So that's where we're at. We get to the marina. We go down to the finger pier, the dock that we have to walk down to get to his slip. We start getting there a little bit closer, and it's not looking pretty good when we see it. Our first impression, we were not impressed. But hey. So as we were walking up to the boat on the dock where it's moored here, we're starting to get an idea of what it really looks like, and it's not what we were expecting, that's for sure. It's got a lot of stuff happening here. The environment in Florida is pretty harsh for a boat anyways, just sitting there year after year with no maintenance going on with it, and it's true in this case as well. This boat's been sitting for a while. Cool thing was is it had the windows in the transom, but I'm not sure what was going on here. He had a lot of lines, a lot of ropes, and a lot of stuff on deck, and I'm not sure if he was using the deck as a storage space or what, but there was a lot of things going on here, and it didn't look like what we were expecting at all. But hey, this boat's been sitting in Florida weather. A lot can happen to the outside of a boat just sitting in the sun all the time. So we go ahead and knock on the boat. He lets us in. We start working our way down inside the boat, and keep in mind these CTs have a grand staircase entryway that's just really beautiful. This is like the centerpiece of the boat, the staircase, and I've been bragging this thing up for months, telling her, hey, this is the one we really want to see this boat. This was like our main boat to go see. So here you can see the staircase on the CT-54. These things are just incredibly beautiful, and this one looks really great. This is the expectation we were hoping to see. And then here's the reality of what we saw when we got there. It's just a little deflating, and that was really the number one thing I really wanted to show her, that when we got to look at this boat, it was going to be just awe-inspiring. Well, a little disappointing. And we get down inside, and it's not looking good. Trying to find the positive in all the things that, I can fix this, I can fix that. It's been sitting a while, so we get inside the boat and we start looking around, and it's not looking good.
Yeah, well, first impression was not already good because the owner was not even friendly.
Nope, he wasn't. He was an old dude. He was in his 80s, and he just wanted to sell the boat. He'd been living on the boat, and he wanted to sell it and move back on land. He was done with the boat. So, but he remembers this boat as how it was back in its day, and this boat was not like how he remembered it to be. So we get inside and we start looking around, and the main salon's not so bad. But so once we come down the staircase or the companionway stairs into the main salon area of the boat, we immediately started looking around to try and see the overall condition of the interior of this boat, and again, we were not impressed. This boat has been lived in and not maintained on the inside from the appearance any more than it had been on the outside. The main salon really wasn't a total loss or anything like that. It's just a lot of clutter, and just you can tell there hasn't been much maintenance going on. The wood appeared to be okay, so it wasn't a total loss, but it just looked not ready for sale. But the staircase is weathered, the floors, not been taken care of. It's just it's very dilapidated inside, but we try to make the most of it. We don't want to just up and leave, so we try to inspect the boat.
Go inside and then back out.
Yeah, we just wanted to look it over, and I thought, well, maybe we'd be able to negotiate a good price. So I took the tour seriously still. And then we took a lot of pictures, and we looked all through the boat. We tried to go up front into the bow of the boat because there's a forward cabin up there. There's a forward shower up there. It's supposed to be pretty nice up front. you know, we couldn't even get the door open. The door was swollen shut from moisture.
Yeah, so this is the door heading forward up to the forward V-berth area, and that's about as far open as we could get it. It just, the floor was swollen up, the door was had been wet. Everything has been swollen from moisture and water damage.
And the floor was soft, and you know, the varnish on all the walls was water damaged and not.
So here you can see on this wood, the varnish is just stripping away from moisture and water and humidity. Just been left to sit on there for so long, it's just deteriorating. I'm not even sure if the wood can be saved, if it'll come back without major staining. Just a lot of unknowns.
You could just tell, I mean, the water's been running down on these surfaces for quite a while, so.
Well, everything's falling apart.
Yeah, pretty much everything's falling apart.
And you have lots of stuff too.
And he's got, like, you know, he's living on the boat, so he has all of his junk in there and stuff. And yeah, and he tried to do some repairs, you know, here and there, and kind of, you know, on a boat, if you don't make the right repair, you can make it worse. And some of these repairs were worse.
Here's one of the repairs the owner attempted to make, and he used really cheap materials to do it. And I'm not even sure what he was trying to stop from leaking there, but you can tell by the wood it's been getting wet anyways. Did not do any good.
You know, some of the pictures I was looking at online before we even traveled there, I was really trying to look at them. So I saved every one of the pictures so I could zoom them in and try and look at them really close before we even committed to looking at this boat. And I couldn't really find anything major, but that's the problem when you're looking at boats online. Generally people, brokerages, owners, they're not going to show you the worst of the boat. They're going to show you the very best. It's kind of like a clickbait thing. And so we go down there looking, and we're thinking everything's probably not going to be so bad. You know, the ad said this boat had made its way up from, I don't know, on the East Coast somewhere under its own power, under sail and everything. So they tried to make it sound like this boat was ready to go. And actually it was not ready to go anywhere. But yeah, so one of the pictures I was looking at, I tried to see if around the windows it looked like it might have been leaking, but there were dark pictures, and up in the corner I could kind of see something that looked like spray foam, but I wasn't sure, and I hoped it wasn't. Well,
so here's a picture of the same view, but it's taken with our camera. This same view was the one that was in the ad on the posting, but it was a lot darker and couldn't really see what was going on. But clearly, once we're there in person, we can see there's spray foam all over around this port light. There's some leaks here they've been trying to stop, and it's actually just making things worse. Spray foam is not a good band-aid for stopping a leak. All that's doing is just allowing the leak to travel somewhere else, you know, either in a bulkhead or behind a panel or something. It's not stopping the source of water from coming in the boat. It needs to be fixed from the outside and with something better than spray foam.
Well, it turned out it was. Somebody had used spray foam to stop the windows from leaking, and it just made things worse. We gave up on trying to go up forward because the doors just wouldn't open. And so we started making our way to the back to the main salon, and we checked out the galley. And the galley on this boat was actually pretty cool. It's a really nice layout. The galley on this.
One of the really nice things about this boat was the galley layout was really nice. This thing had a big galley in it, had a little island in the middle, storage up above, but passed through counter space below it. So yeah, that was really nice. We really liked the galley on this boat. It was laid out good, and it was in pretty good shape. So, as you would expect it to be, since he's living on the boat, you'd want to keep the galley working and everything in serviceable condition, which it was. So the galley was an upside.
The galley on this CT-54 is really set up nice, and this one was it was still pretty nice. It had a little island countertop area and storage up above, and the galley was shaped, it was one of those kind of U-shaped galleys. So yeah, the main reason why we're even talking about this boat is because we weren't even going to show this boat. And the main reason why we want to show this boat is, please don't make the mistake that I almost made. This almost cost us a lot of money. We've been saving to buy our retirement boat for quite a long time, and buying the wrong boat would have been a really bad mistake. And trying to negotiate, trying to commit to a buy before we even saw the boat, you know, this is a lesson that if you're thinking about doing that, or if you're actually in the process of doing that, seriously reconsider. Don't do it. No matter how much the deal seems like a great deal, be patient, let the process play out, go see the boat in person. You have to. They got to start the engine. They really should be willing to take it out on sea trial.
Mm-hmm.
They should really be willing to take it out on sea trial. They should be willing to run the systems for you. They should be willing to let you inspect the engine compartment. They should be willing to walk through the boat with you and tour it with you and show you all the fine details about it. Show you how this works. Show you how that works. Tell you what doesn't work, what needs fixing. They should be willing to be honest and upfront. Don't make a deal without seeing it. You're running a really big risk. These kind of boats, are not cheap. If you're looking at a boat like this, like we are, it's a project boat. We know that. We want a project boat. We knew it was a project boat. So if you're looking at a project boat and you buy the wrong project boat because you thought you were getting a good deal,
it's gonna be a project forever.
Yeah, and I mean that could really could blow your morale. It could really blow your project out of the water and set you back to a point where you may not be able to recover, you may not be able to finish, and that's the end of the dream.
Give up your dream.
Right. So we're just trying to use this one as a warning of what not to do. This was a really bad choice. The possibilities of what could have went wrong if we'd have bought this boat are endless. The projects are not major. I mean, they're not like out of our skill set. It's all stuff we can do. But how much time do you have? How much money do we have? How much time are we willing to commit to a boat like this? First off, this boat's not seaworthy. It's not going to make it home.
I don't even think it can afford to leave the dock.
No, it may not. I don't know. I don't know if it can even move under its own power. The other moral of the story is this wasn't a good choice. This wasn't a good boat. I feel like we didn't really do our homework, mainly me. Didn't really do my homework before we set out to look at this boat. Could you imagine if this was the only boat we came down there to look at?
Yeah.
I mean, we travel from...
Waste of time.
Yeah, travel from Washington State all the way to Florida. Sure, we get a vacation out of it, but this was... If we pinned our hopes on this boat solely, it would have been a big wasted trip.
Yeah.
So this boat wasn't ready to go. This boat wouldn't have made it through the Panama Canal. It wouldn't have made it to the Panama Canal. So who knows? I never did see the engine. I don't even know what it looks like. But just looking at the rigging,
it's everywhere.
Yeah, it's everywhere. And I don't even know if this boat had sails on it. It didn't look like it did. I couldn't tell because the sail bag was wrapped so tightly. I don't know if there was a sail in there or not. So who knows? But this boat at one time was a beautiful boat, and just it was left to decay over the years. And this happens to a lot of boats. This was obviously someone's broken dream, and it was sad just to see how far it had decayed and left to go. And this guy still thought it was his baby. He still thought this boat was good to go, and he'd been living on it, so he didn't see the dramatic changes because he sees it every day. And so if you see something every day, year after year, you don't see how bad it's getting. But to us, right away, we could see this boat needed help. If he would have been willing to come down on the price to where we could have afforded to pull the boat out of the water, put it in a yard where we could actually work on it, get it ready, get it seaworthy, at least get the systems working, especially the motor and the rigging and all that. If he had come down to where we could have invested the money into fixing it and getting it ready to go, maybe, but it was so far gone inside. The exterior probably was easier to repair than the interior, and the exterior wasn't anything to brag about. So, take it from us. This is a lesson learned on our end. Don't make deals online. Don't try to put a deposit on a boat without seeing it. If they're insisting you put a deposit on it to hold it, let it go. Don't be in such a rush to buy it. It's a mistake we, repeated a few times in our boat search, and we're really thankful that it never worked out that way for us. But there was people that tried to get us to put a deposit on it, wire them money, all kinds of things to hold these boats. And this guy wanted me to put a deposit on it to hold this one. He made it sound like it was going to sell anytime, blah blah blah, and we dodged a bullet on this one for sure. This one would have been a serious disaster, a serious money pit, and I couldn't even tell you where we would have started to even start fixing this boat. To tell you the truth, it was very bad. Leaks everywhere. This was a true leaky Teaky, and it was unfortunate. So I don't want to keep bashing this boat, but it's just we really want this to be a lesson learned for people. If you're in that position right now, stop. Don't do it. Go see the boat. Go do a sea trial. Run the engine. Run the systems. Find out what works, what doesn't work. Take a note of it. If there's any red flags, investigate them. Run them down. Check them out. Take notes, pictures, lots of pictures. Do a survey. Unless you really know what you're looking at, these kind of boats, there's so many things that can be a huge money pit. These can be, a death to your dream type of boat. Unless you have all the skills and the equipment and the tools and you really know what you're doing, this is a horrendous project. I can't even.
Lifetime.
Yeah, you would need a crew to work on this thing. You'd be money ahead buying something ready to go compared to putting all the money you'd put in this boat. You could have a really nice boat in the end. And I'm a project guy, and I'm the kind of guy I can see, I can see through the dirt and all that, but there was a lot of dirt to see through on this boat. And there's a lot of damage going on that we probably couldn't even see. We couldn't even get to the front portion of the boat, and the door that we could not get open was hiding about, not quite half of the boat, but at least a quarter of the boat we weren't even able to even see, except I could get a camera in there and take pictures with the flash, and that was it. That's all we could even see. So it's a pretty sad state on this boat. But moral of the story is, don't make a deal until you see the boat. No rush. If you're in that big a hurry, I hope you got a lot of money to spend, because that's what's going to happen. So take it from us, don't make these deals online unless you're going to be able to see the boat, or if you can get out of it. If it's 100% deposit return, then that's cool. But I don't know too many people that are going to do that kind of deal. So we decided to get out of here and move on. This was an easy decision to walk away from, and he still wasn't even willing to budge on the price when we were getting ready to leave. He was like, still solid, wasn't gonna move on it. So no loss on our part, and we took some pictures and looked at it and went on our way. And so, lesson learned on our end. So what did you think of the boat?
I didn't even look like the moment we get in there.
She was like so done when we even walked up to this boat at the dock.
Yeah.
You were like, I want this boat. You liked it, huh?
No, you do like it.
Yeah, so this was a no-go pretty much early on. But we didn't want to just...
You keep looking, but I didn't.
Yeah, I didn't know what to do, really, to tell you the truth. I didn't want to be rude and just like, hey, nope, this isn't going to work for us, and walk away. So I thought maybe we could rescue the deal if he had came down really low on price.
No,
but
it's too much.
I think even if he would have came down to $30,000 on this boat, I think it would have been too much money. But it did sell. The boat did sell.
Really?
Oh yeah, somebody bought this boat. And yeah. And it's crazy because a lot of people saw this boat online. I talked to several people that were interested in looking at this boat, and it had the motorcycles on the back. And I talked to him, and he put those on there himself, using the boom as a crane. But yeah, a lot of people, I knew a couple people online that were asking about this boat, and they were interested in it. There's just not There's just
Well,
not
it's
very
not for
many.
us.
No, it wasn't for us. But there's just not very many CT-54s out there. So, but you have to pass on a deal like this. This wasn't a good deal. Of course, I would have paid, around
Then
30.
he finally came down to his price. That's why he sold.
Well, he had to. If there's nobody in their right mind, would have paid $79,000 for this
Right.
boat. So, yeah. But anyways, I could tell by the look in your eyes, you were.
No.
I could tell early on when we got there. She's like, "No, I'm not interested in this one." But
Well, I tried to look at the back
yeah,
room and we can't open.
no, that was the front room.
Oh, the front
Yeah,
room.
yeah, we couldn't look in the bow at all. Couldn't see the V berth or the forward bedroom. I
I was
don't
like, I'm done.
even know how the layout was. We did see the forward bathroom area. That was before you get to that door. So
On the way up to look at the forward bathroom, forward head area, you can just look around and see some of the things that we're looking at. All these areas of structure and rotted wood, and I know we're bashing on this boat pretty hard in our review, but a lot of it's warranted. I mean, you should not advertise a boat for this price and state the condition that it's ready to go, and it's made this journey to get here under its own power, and act like it's a seaworthy vessel when clearly it's not. I mean, you take a boat like this out to sea and it's probably not going to come back. So we got our opinions on this boat. But yeah, so here's the forward head. You can see that it's I wouldn't want to be using this bathroom, that's for sure. But yeah, there it is.
we started making our way towards the aft cabin. Not so good. The bed back there was another one of those. It was like a steamroll bed, and it was off to the side. It wasn't centered. It was off to one side of the aft cabin. I don't know why they laid it out like that, and they really just kind of made like the center space really open for some reason, and it was a big waste of space. I mean, the bed should have been in the center, but
So here you can see the layout of the aft cabin where the bed's off to the one side, and it's also one of those beds where the person closest to the wall is going to have to climb over the person that's nearest the outside. Just not convenient, but I don't know why somebody would even pick a layout like this, because it's not working real well for two people. And then you can see these boards that are placed here and there in the aft cabin, looking like they're trying to stop moisture or whatever, and I don't know, it just kind of, it's not working real well because the boards are all warped and damaged from water. So
the aft cabin looked like it was salvageable. It wasn't probably the worst part of the boat, but it wasn't the best either. It had all kinds of weird pieces of plywood all over the place in there. So anyways, master bathroom, it had a normal toilet on it, so that part of it at least was okay.
So here's a picture of the Aft Master Bathroom, which is actually pretty roomy and spacious. Has a nice setup in there.
So we looked at the and then he also modified this boat came with a really nice stall shower, big bathroom in the aft cabin. It was like a master bathroom, and he cut that out and removed this really cool curved stall shower.
I don't know why, but for some reason he decided to remove this nice stall shower out of the master bathroom of the boat. But for us, we would have wanted to keep something like that. Just having a nice shower on a boat this size would have been a real big benefit. But for some reason he was taking it out and never finished the job, and there it sat, just kind of rotting away like everything else.
I don't know why, but he didn't like it for some reason. He was trying to modify it. He had been bragging about how he took the mast and cut it and shortened it by I think 7 feet or something like that. And I'm like, people, why do you do stuff like this to boats? Don't cut a mast, don't modify a mast. This thing had all kinds of stuff up on the deck, rusting away, all these boxes of who knows what was in there. Probably all the missing fittings and whatever else is going on up there.
So here you can see in these pictures, there's just lots of things being stored up on deck, which, is not really a problem, but in Florida environment, the salt, air, everything's corroding away. It's just, it's not a good place if you're going to store things long term. You can see all kinds of stuff rusting away here, and it's going to stain the deck, and just not a good situation. And then they're using the door raids as wire vents to lead wires and cables down inside the boat for who knows what reason. Just not good ideas.
This boat would have required a huge going through the electrical, mechanical, all the systems. He wasn't willing to show us any of that, so that's all right. It was Ketch rig sailboat, had the 2 masts still, you know, had the bowsprit on it.
So here you can see the bowsprit on the front of this boat. It's just huge. It goes way out there and also up at the same time. It's also what we often refer to as the dolphin viewing platform, but on this CT-54 it's very long and large, which is cool. But you got to pay for that in the marina. That extra space you're taking up with that, it's going to cost you in the marinas. But here you can see Baby up front looking back, and it just looks like she's really way out there and far away. It's just be really cool sailing through rough seas out there. And you had the vantage point looking back at the boat. It's just awesome.
It had a really nice deck plan on it. The deck was actually really well laid out. Very spacious, lots of room.
So here you can see the just large deck space on this CT-54. There's just lots of room for moving around, walking around on deck, setting out deck chairs, whatever you want to do. It just, these boats were huge up on deck, and that was one of the things we really like about these style boats, but this one not so much.
Lots of room on the deck, so that part was cool. Cockpit area was pretty roomy in the cockpit area, but the electronics on this boat were dated.
So here you can see a shot of the companionway where they've attempted to repair the hatch, it looks like a few times. You can also see the electronics are old and outdated. Who knows if they're even functional. But the cockpit on this CT-54 is very roomy and large and could seat a lot of people. Even has a nice table for hanging out and eating or snacking or whatever you're doing, watching this beautiful sunset.
Didn't have a steering wheel attached to it, so you know.
You'll have the local one.
You're like,
one of the things while we're touring the cockpit on this CT-54, Baby and I noticed the steering wheel was gone and missing from the helm. That's going to be something you need if a boat's ready to go, like he was saying it was. So, and we never did see it on the boat anywhere, so we don't know if he had it or missing or what.
You're like, okay, so where's the steering wheel? He said it was on there somewhere, but
so it can't afford to leave the dock.
Well, it's not able to leave the dock without some work. The other thing on this boat was it only had 2 windows in the transom, where most of the CT-54s have actually 4 windows in the transom.
One of the things we noticed when we were first walking up to this boat was that it only had the 2 windows in the aft transom, and that's another sign of the age of the boat because the older ones only had 2 windows in the aft transom. Not a deal breaker or anything like that. We could have modified it if we really wanted to have the 4 windows like the newer CT-54s have in the transom. But that's one easy way to tell if it's an older or newer version.
So, you know, I figured we could modify the transom and get the 4 windows in there if, you know, we ended up moving forward with this boat, but we weren't probably going to move forward with this boat. Just kind of crazy stuff going on here. Just, you name it. I mean, and there was leaks all over the place. Around the windows, up in the headliner. This boat was still a true leaky Teaky for sure. It had water lines all over on the Teak, on the side panels, the headliners. Pretty much everywhere this boat was leaking. And yeah, you know, when you walk up to a boat at the dock and it's got a tarp over it.
So one of the things we noticed was walking up to this boat, it had a tarp over it, and that's a telltale sign there's leaks going on down below. We've had boats in the past where we've had to put tarps on them in the wintertime when the rains came to stop them from leaking down below, and this is a true indication of what's going on here. And his tarp wasn't big enough. He should have covered the whole boat.
That tarp's on there for a reason. It's not. They're not using it for a sunshade. They're using it to keep the water from leaking inside. And that was the case here on this one for sure. And you know, one thing I'll say, I was impressed with how big this boat was up on the top side. The deck on this boat, walking space. It's a big boat. I mean, it's a 54. So
how big?
54. Yeah. Yeah, it's 54 feet. So they had removed the teak decks in most of the area and looked like they did some repairs.
So here you can see some of the repairs that were done on the deck, and they just didn't complete them out, and plus they didn't put enough top coat over the fiberglass, and you can see it's all worn through. You can see the wood down below through the fiberglass. This UV is just tearing it up here, and all this is going to have to be redone if you were going to save this boat, because chances are that fiberglass has lost its integrity and strength. And then they left some of the teak on some places in the deck, and I'm not sure any of that teak is worth saving, so I don't know why they left it.
The problem was they did not put enough paint over the fiberglass that they put down on the deck, and over the years the paint's worn away, and now you can actually see the fibers in the fiberglass, and UV is just going to tearing up that fiberglass. So all that work they did repairing the decks is gone. All has to be redone again. There's a lot of corrosion on a lot of the rigging attachments, especially up.
So one of the things we noticed when we were out and about walking on the deck was the rigging, and you know, neither one of us are rigging experts, but there's a lot of corrosion on that rigging. So especially up on the front of the bowsprit where all those attach points are, I don't know if any of that's got any real structural integrity left into it, but it would all need to be gone over and inspected by a certified rigger. But chances are most of this rigging is going to have to be redone, and that's a big expense on a boat this size. All those fittings, all the cables, everything, yeah, it's all going to have to be looked at and possibly all of it replaced. I'm just really not sure, but it would need to be inspected at the very least.
Especially up on the forward bowsprit. And the bowsprit on these 54s is just massive. I mean, it goes way forward. That's the Dolphin platform that we really like. And this one goes way out there and up. So it'd be a really cool vantage point. You know, if you're out sailing, you can be up there looking back at the boat or looking forward, looking for dolphins or whatever, you know. And it'd be really cool, but this boat's not really cool. And they got all kinds of junk going on with the rigging. Lots of lines everywhere. I'm not sure what's going on. I don't know if...
Another thing we noticed when we were up on deck was the mast, the main mast here. It's got ropes and lines wrapped around this thing all over the place. I don't know what's going on there. I don't know if they're using that to try to hold it up, or he was trying to stop the lines from slapping during maybe a storm or something, but they're everywhere. So I imagine when the wind's blowing, this thing's got all kinds of whistling sounds going on with all the lines everywhere, or it's buzzing like a guitar or something. But yeah, he had just tons of ropes all over the place. Just not sure what was going on here, but that's a lot of rope to untangle and figure out what's going on.
They're trying to hold the mast up, or if they're trying to stop the lines from slapping the mast or the halyards from making noise. I don't know what they got going on, but it's all over the place. There's cutouts and patches all over here and there on the hull, on the deck, I mean, and pieces of missing fixtures.
So here you can see on the deck, there's a fitting missing forward of where my foot's at, and it looks like it's been patched over, but not completed. And this was prevalent throughout the boat. We were walking, we've seen many places where there was missing deck hardware and not patched really well. So those are always more opportunities for moisture to get down through the deck. Here's another example of the electrical cable going down through the door aid, and just kind of, it looked like it was a work in progress. It got stopped and never got picked up again some years back.
Some teak on the deck is left, and I don't know why they left it, because it's not good. The door aids had wires coming out of them where they're like using it to run electrical in certain parts of the boat. I mean, this thing is not ready to go. And the only reason why we're really talking about this boat, we weren't even going to show this boat, but probably the main reason we're even discussing this boat, we were serious. I was serious about it in the very beginning, you know.
Yeah, because we were gonna buy it.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, we were really thinking about buying it, and that's why we even went to look at this boat, was because we were going to try and come to some kind of an agreement. We almost came to an agreement online and over the phone, and because he wouldn't come down far enough, and I wouldn't accept his best offer, we decided to meet in person over it. But I really would have made a deal over the phone, and we would have locked into this boat before we even saw it. I'd say this was a hard lesson learned on our end, not to try to negotiate, not to try to buy a boat on sight unseen. it is good to find out if they're going to be in your ballpark price-wise. But don't put money down. Don't try to hold a boat. Don't try to reserve it, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's good, we wouldn't have wanted to try to fly all the way across country on a boat that was out of our price range. If you wanted 100 for this and, we didn't want to spend 100, it wouldn't have been worth our effort to go look at it. So at least it was within our ballpark, as far as price goes. But, it is good to find out if somebody's going to negotiate or not. But this guy wasn't even negotiating. He's like, come look at it. We'll negotiate in person. Okay. So that's the kind of deal we had going on there. So we're talking to the owner a little bit, as we're doing the walkthrough and stuff. We're talking to him, and he's telling me, oh, this was the first one ever made. Well, so if that's true, then this boat's got to be a 1975. And the ad was wrong. The ad listed it as a 79. So
It was newer.
it was actually older than the ad said. So, and I'd probably believe it just based on the look. I don't know if it was the first one, but it had to be early in the run because they had the 2 windows in the back. The newer ones
Right.
had 4 windows in the back.
4.
Yeah.
So here's a few pictures of kind of the final summary of what we saw up on the top sides of this boat. You can see some cracks in the gel coat that have been left unattended. Looks like water's probably leaking in through there. A couple more deck fittings missing. This boat had deck prisms in it, which were used to let light in down below, and you can see where they've replaced them and patched them over. They were probably leaking and didn't know how to fix them properly. But then you can see a few parting shots of the exterior of the hull. This boat was a beautiful boat back in its day, and you can see that it's just been sitting year over year, being more and more neglected as time passes by. The boat did end up selling. It's no longer on the market, so let's hope whoever purchased this boat went ahead and is taking the necessary steps to bring her back to her former glory, because this could be a really beautiful boat once again with the right amount of time, money, and effort. Somebody's got to have a long-term vision on this one.
Yeah, it's just a shame because this, was a really beautiful boat at one time. And, he wouldn't start the engine. I really wanted to know if the engine ran. And he, for some reason, just was not up for starting it. And, we came all the way from Washington State to Florida to look at this boat. And we really wanted to hear it run. I wanted to look at it. He didn't even show us the engine. So these are kind of signs that they're red flags. When you're looking at a boat and they won't start the engine for you, and they won't even show it to you, that's kind of questionable, right? That's gonna wonder.
No, he was just sitting there, and then he was on his phone and didn't even talk.
Yeah, it was an odd
Visit.
yeah. I'd say probably the nicest part of this boat was the galley and the staircase, but otherwise took lots of pictures. Because if we were going to negotiate on this boat, I want to go back home and I want to look at these pictures. I'm going to zoom in on all these questionable areas. He's going to have to come down on the price considerably for us to even really want to move forward with this boat. So yeah, we went ahead and left, and we didn't look back. No regrets on that one.
Easy.
Yep, easy. So yeah. So from here we moved on to headed towards Miami and went to look at the next boat on our list. So next boat on this trip was we were going to go look at an Irwin 52.
Ooh.
Yeah. Yeah. So
Anyways, stay tuned, guys. It's gonna be exciting.
say what?
Exciting.
Why?
Why not?
Oh. Yeah, it'll be exciting, all right. So it's good to to take a look at boats out of your own state, out of your own backyard, and that's what we really wanted to do. We could find better prices on the East Coast, which is true, but we got to consider transportation. How are we going to get the boat home? Are we going to leave it there and travel back and forth to work on it? Are we going to leave it there till we retire? All kinds of crazy decisions have to be made. So, but this one, unfortunately, was not the one. And it was kind of the catalyst to get us to travel to Florida. But luckily, we had a few other boats to look at. So,
So
Right?
that's why it's gonna be exciting. Right?
Yeah, that's why it's going to be exciting.
Exciting trip.
Yeah. So, that's the end of this one. We'll wrap this video up, but it's a lesson learned on our part and what not to do.
Right.
Right. So,
Thank you guys for watching. And see you for our next video.
thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. And next time, we'll show you Irwin 52. We're getting closer, but we still got a few boats left to show before we get to the one that we ultimately bought. So, hang in there. We'll get through these ones. Like I said, it's worth telling our story. It's interesting. If you're in the boat market and you're shopping,
It's fun.
it's fun. You're going to want to hear our experience. Hopefully you learn from our mistakes.
Okay.
Okay.
See you.
See you next time. Like and subscribe. Comment down below. Tell us what you think. Would you have bought this boat?
No.
No, I don't think so. I don't think anybody will comment down below on this boat. So, all right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Now that's a nice looking shell right there. I'd collect that one.
And what's that?
My idea. Oh, we got a boat coming. It's this guy. Nice. Dang. 5 engines on the back. That was sweet.
So this week episode, we are finally going to look at this boat. Okay, hang on 1 second.
Yeah.
CT-54, right?
Right.
54?
Foot. Yeah.
Okay. So